Hello artful friends, today I will be showing you how I made Jason, Juuzou's scythe. And I made it for really cheap. This was my first time making a prop like this, so here's the tutorial. Thankfully I was able to get a picture of what I did. Excuse the fact that it's blurry because I am showing it on my phone, and is not great quality. But I just freehand drew out the style that I wanted. I am not an engineer, I am not mathematically inclined, so I didn't do any measurements. And I know that sounds really strange, but I didn't do any measurements. I just looked at the image and free sketched it out in pencil and onto tons of computer paper. I taped all the computer paper to the size of the cardboard foam material that I will be using, the craft foam, but it's also really cardboardy, and just drew out the shape. And of course my dog still wants to be in the picture, but that is okay. He loves to join me on all these weird cosplay adventures. I got 2 foam boards. They're cardboard foam, they're really sturdy, and I cut out the design that was on top of them using an X-Acto blade. And what I did find with the X-Acto blade, take your time, go rather slow, because it can slip around. The X-Acto blade is not too exact sometimes whenever you slip. So take your time with it, go slow, and I cut out both of them so that they're even in proportions. And what I will do is I will add an inner skeleton with cardboard or something to give the weird little striation stripes that are going on inside of his blade. And so that'll sandwich between these. Alright, those are cut out. I just eyeballed these because I was not going to try to figure out how to make that out of paper when they weren't that difficult. So I have one, and then I have one under it, and they're the same size. Alrighty, so what you have missed, because I'm a very bad noodle and I forgot to film the process, but it was a trial and error process, so there was a lot of tears, and I finally figured out how to make this work. So if you'll see along the side, I have 4 of the cardboard foam, and I stacked them together and sandwiched them together. And then I have a broomstick and cut a hole into this block of wood, and then cut a few more holes to carve these into the holes. Focus. Okay. And then I just cut out the 2 in the middle. I cut little wedges so that the little forks can go through. Now I will say I do have to glue those in. Right now, the world, gravity, and whatever engineering term you want to use is holding these together, but I will be using some glue to keep those in. But they are sandwiched in, and they're pretty long. They go about here. So that's keeping it intact. Trying to keep it on this is relatively difficult, trying to keep it con-safe. So hopefully this will pass the test. I have sanded out the corners, so there are no sharp corners. And somehow I was able to get it all to line up. That was not very easy to do because I am not great with a straight razor, but it did seem to turn out okay. And of course I will cut away some of the little excesses and whatnot, but it's coming along. This is now completely attached, and now I have to paint it. It's almost done. Now I just have to do all the detail work, but all the building bits is done. The building bits took my thumb. I had to get 3 stitches trying to cut this out. But all I've really done now, and no, I'm not too happy with it, but I'm kind of rushed. I'm on a budget. I added foam. I spray painted it gold. It is just flimsy foam board, and I made the nice little whatever decoration he's got. It is complete. I am satisfied with it. Now, to run through, because I know that I showed you a lot of what I did as I did it, but some things, because it was such a trial and error process, I may not have been able to really touch on. So I'm going to go through every little piece just to kind of give you a better idea and understanding of how this thing is constructed. Starting off, I just had a regular broomstick. I painted it black, spray painted it, and then just painted on his little red lines. Now to the part that holds it up and holds it onto the broomstick. Thankfully, the broomstick already had this little area that normally the broom would be attached to. We grinded down the nice little area that would normally twist the broom on, and drilled a hole into a tiny block of wood, and just attached it inside of there. I have not glued it so that for transportation's sake, to take it to con, I can pop it on and off, but it is able to hold itself on there just fine without glue. Then I have these little wooden pieces. They are wood as well, and I drilled holes, tiny little holes, into this block of wood, and then just kind of like carefully scraped away with a razor, more carefully than what I did with my thumb, but scraped away at it so that it could fit into the holes just fine, and then I did glue those in. As you saw, I did have 4 layers of that styrofoam cardboard. And what I did, and how I hurt my thumb, was I cut enough room in 2 of the layers, the 2 middle layers, so that these could wedge in there and fit in there nicely, sandwiched in, and then glued those into place, sandwiched everything together, let it dry, and now these hold in just fine. But for added support on top, which you cannot see because I have duct taped it, there is a giant piece of wood going through here, which are attached to these little things of wood to give extra support so that these would not buckle, bend, and break, because that's what they were doing originally whenever I did not have them. So now everything in there is basically a rectangle of wood being held together. As you saw, this is just styrofoam cardboard, and I used duct tape to just go along lining the edges. I was thinking of painting little stripes, but because it is duct tape, it flakes off, so I've chosen not to do that. This is also the same stuff. I just added another layer of it. I created its own shape so that it had that more three-dimensional feel like his blade does. So this is just its own piece. I spray painted them different colors. So we have this piece, there's one on the back that is identical to this. And then all of this was just cut out freehand with a razor. And this right here is just craft foam. So foam sheets. And I spray painted it gold. I glued it together. Obviously, it doesn't look perfect, but for the time that I have, this is as good as it's going to have to get. And then just with acrylic paint, I painted on the 13. And with his strings, all I did was find some strings at the craft store, and then tied some knots at the end, and added these beads that I also found at the craft store onto it. And I've just got it taped in there with some of the duct tape. I got it taped in there. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial on how to make Juuzou scythe. Roughly this came to be about $40 with all the trial and error So if you would like to make this, I hope that this tutorial was helpful and you won't have to experience a lot of the trial and errors that I did, so you can make it for even cheaper. Whenever I was looking online for a scythe for Juuzou, I found them to be about $80 online, so I did cut that price in half by making my own. I hope that you will subscribe as well, become an Artful Friend by hitting the subscribe button, and hit the bell if you would like notifications for other tutorials and other cosplay videos. Artful Friends are extremely helpful people, so if you need any tips or tricks or advice, I highly recommend going to the comment section of any of my videos and asking for help. Artful Friends are definitely here to help and also give some great con suggestions. But become an Artful Friend, join this community. We're a positive cosplay community, and I thank you all very much for watching. Thank you.